Um, Hello, everyone. This is Glenys Chatterley once again with a session of business chat. Today, I've got a really special guest who has vast amounts of experience that she brings to her business. So today we're talking to Charlotte Doniger, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and her business. So Charlotte, welcome and tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, thank you, Glenys, and thank you for the opportunity today. So, hello, everyone. I'm Charlotte. My business is Pink Spaghetti Colchester. So, you're probably wondering what pink spaghetti actually means, but rather than talk about that, let's talk about what I do. So my business is all about helping small businesses, that could be micro businesses or small to medium businesses, with lots of back office support. And what I mean by that is it could be anything from administration to sales and marketing. So it's really about keeping your business productive, helping you with performance, and generally a dollop of sometimes a little bit of advice as well along the way.
and that's sometimes a gentle nudge in the right direction. Yes.
I'd like to think so. Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't usually put any knuckle dusters on or baseball bats, or it doesn't get that violent. It's just a gentle nudge
It's a
towards.
nudge, and I'd like to think it comes down to a bit of imagination and some innovative ways of what potentially you could help your business or even think of things differently. So yes, I'm naturally very curious, and I'm also quite creative. So, but I love to know how businesses work, how they operate, what they do well, what they don't do well, and ultimately, what can I do to support them? And that's where the creativity comes in, because what a lot of the time I look at what people are doing and then make suggestions, and they always think, oh, I didn't know you could do that, or oh, I didn't think of that. So yeah, so it's very much an open conversation and open. So I'm very transparent, and it's how you can help businesses move forward. So when I say to clients, it's very much is like, what is it you don't do in your business, or what is it you'd like to do in your business that you can't do? And so that usually starts off a huge raft of things, and some of it I can help with, and some of it I can't. And I'll be openly honest, and say, actually, I can't do this, but I might know somebody who can.
And that's where networking comes in, you see, as well.
Absolutely, yes.
So
Yeah. And as you
tell
know,
me, go on, sorry.
as you know me, networking has been a major part of my career. So if you cut me in half, it probably says networking.
Through the middle. My beloved always says mine would say Salford, which is where I'm from. I may now live down south. I may feel of myself as European, British, English, Essex. However, I am actually Salford, right in the middle.
Yeah,
So
I'm with you on that.
when people are using you, I'm assuming you can you don't have to be in their office. I mean, particularly as we've all learned how to use Zoom now, and all other platforms are available. So you can do it virtually, as well as you can go and spend time in their office if they want to.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, as the name suggests, it is virtual assistant, so we can do things virtually. I do like to meet my clients. Yes. If that allows, we will do that. But yeah, I can work either in an office but a lot of my clients don't have a physical building, they're virtual themselves.
Right.
So it fits in very well that both of us can work remotely. And having had that career for nearly 30 years of being remote, I understand, how to do it well. I also know areas where, you can have improvements, and working virtually is great. But at the same time, you can do it, in a client's premises. But but a lot of my clients don't have that. They're single individual business users themselves.
So small business. I mean, you do larger business, but smaller
Yep.
businesses where a lot of work comes from. So
Yes.
tell me, one of the things I'm always interested in is, why do people do what they do and not do something else? So
Yeah.
why do you do what you do and not something else?
Okay, it's a really good question, that, and it's something
I worked on it for quite a while
yeah.
before I asked it. Yeah.
And I ask that of quite clients as well. Tell me why you do it, and it's amazing. Sometimes you don't always. They tell you why they do it, but actually, I said, well, that's what you need to talk about when you are meeting with clients, because that's what get your value over. So, I've worked in across typically. in the technology, but also in the event industry as well, across large and small businesses. And, I had a very progressive career, which was great. But I got to the point in my life where actually, and it's very simple, didn't want to work for anybody else anymore. But having had a period of time where I wasn't working for anybody, I was doing a bit of work for friends and family, not always the greatest things to do, as they say. But I realized that actually I needed to turn this into a business model. So people were coming to me for lots of ideas, advice, all that good stuff, which I love doing. And I thought, but I need to put this into some form of a business model. And so that's why, Pink Spaghetti is a franchise. I still need support behind me. I'm still constantly learning. So that's really my journey. It was the fact I just sort of had could say a light bulb moment. I want to do things on my own, and having worked within a lot of industry, it's like I say, across industry, even large and small businesses, there's always something you can't do, and there's always, you need to get an expert or somebody in to do that. And I like that, and I've got a natural, I love to understand what makes people tick, and I love business. I love finding out what people do. And so yeah, so it came from there really. And the fact is that, do you know what? I was like, I've gone as far as I want to. I've gone further than I ever did in my career that I thought I would do. Loved it. I've hated it at times. And do you know what? From what I've learned, can I pass on to a new generation, perhaps, of business owners?
Yes, I think my beloved, when I went self-employed, which is 25 years ago, um, he said, "Well, you've never really done bosses well, have you?" Um,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sort of okay with that. I'm sort of
yeah,
okay with that. Yeah. I mean, now my boss, she has her off days, but do you know what?
yeah,
So okay. So tell me, if somebody were thinking of using a VA,
yeah.
what 3 tips would you give them to sort of narrow down what they would use you for before they came to see you?
Okay, it's a really good question. So, um, what I would suggest to anybody is to be really, firstly, be brutal with yourself. You know, as small business owners, we do think we are the gladiators, we can do it all. Really think about and be brutally honest. What is it you struggle to do on a regular basis? But also, what are those things that are really important to your business or important to your clients? So have a look at those two things really, and then think, have I got time to do this? Probably not. But also, have I got the skill to do it as well? So it's really identifying what is it you can't do, and it could be you hate doing it, you haven't got the inclination to do it. And so that's the starting point to have a look at it. And it's amazing how much a lot of things come out of that as well.
So, having set up your business, and I know it's a franchise, but you still have to do a lot of the work yourself, and there is that realization where you're it. Um, what what if you were meeting somebody who perhaps was thinking about starting a business or had just started a business? What would be your advice to them?
Yes, I've thought about this a lot, and I can only apply it to myself. And having had a number of sales development roles as well from across the industries I've been in, first things first, you need to research your market. Okay, so research what is it you're going to do, and what's it going to do for that customer? So research it. So have an idea of who your target market is going to be. And I'll always say that to clients, that's, as your business grows, you might even look to change that, but you need a starting point. So identify your target market, test your product and service on that target market, get feedback. People forget that feedback is absolutely instrumental into a business.
Mm.
Get the feedback. You might need to change things. It might not, you might have a great idea, but actually the reality is it's not, the market might not be ready for it yet. Or actually you're not quite on the right page yet on doing so. So test your products and service, and don't try and do things on your own. Get some support and some help as a business mentor or a coach. Now, there may be somebody, you don't have to pay for that at this stage, but there may be from people in your working life that you've really admired, or maybe that you admire from afar digitally, ask them for some help. I mentor a couple of people. I don't charge for it, far from it. They are a younger generation, but I love the fact that they come to me for ideas and advice, on that. So yeah, so those three things: do the research, keep researching, test your market, and and have a mentor, have some help.
Yes. I think also that I would say that, I left the corporate world with no idea what I was
Yep.
going to do. All I knew was I didn't want to do anymore what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I set myself 3 rules. Number 1, it has to be fun. Number
Yeah.
2, I never do anything I don't want to do with anybody I don't want to do it with. And
Yeah.
number 3 is I'm never working full time and permanently for anybody ever again. And with those rules, that was about the structure I had. And I said to friends, what should I do? And
Yeah.
you were saying about friends coming to you for advice and help, and then you thinking, I need to set up a business. The people you should be testing it on are the people who you're perhaps doing it for,
Yeah.
reduced, or and I still have people who come to me now and say, who are themselves a well-established business, I'm doing this project, would you mind being a guinea pig for me? And I go, no, that's fine, because
Yeah.
in the process I'm helping, but for me, I'm getting that information for the time it takes me to go through it and give
Yeah.
feedback. So
Mm.
I think it's that as well, that people are very, very open and helpful. In my experience, I've never had anybody, well, maybe one or two, who've said go away. In a caring and supportive way, obviously. But it's that thing about you have to, and you have to ask people. It's amazing what people will help you with, if only they knew that you needed help. You
Mm.
know,
And absolutely, and I have it. And for myself, is that when I set the business up, I could have done this on my own, but as you have to look at yourself with your own behaviours and your own values. And I've always been a big team player, and I've enjoyed being part of a team. But I also enjoy working on my own as well. But when you've got a team of people around you, it's that ideas, it's that creativity, it's finding out something you don't know necessarily about yourself, what you could be doing for a client. So setting up the business, in terms of the pink spaghetti and being a franchise, is that it's the support behind the
yeah,
scenes. And that's the
yeah,
thing. So that's when I say, when you're setting up a business, and like you were saying, Glenys, is that, having, not everybody has that, that support network behind them. But what I would say to people setting up in business, go and find one, because to tell you what, if you ask for help, there'll always be somebody who'll be asking you, who will love to impart their ideas, some wisdom onto them. Might not
yeah.
necessarily sit with you, but you will find, as I call it, bit of a cheesy line, you find your tribe. So as a business owner, you still need that support around you, to
Yeah.
definitely.
I think also that it's that thing about knowing you don't have to be everything. You can say, I can't do that, or I don't
Yeah.
want to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a series of these with various people, and seems to be a theme about that. But all the people I'm talking to are fans of networking. So
Yeah.
they get that you're not alone. And I think also the big thing for me, I've just been in another meeting and somebody asked me, am I thinking about doing this for my business? And I said, well, no. I can wrap it up if you want, but no, I can say maybe.
Mm.
But the answer is actually no, because as a business owner, I have the right to say no. I have the right to have my business as I want it, to listen to advice and then implement what I want to implement. And it may be that I don't implement everything at once, or it can be a few years before any of it gets done. But it is that responsibility and that right to be a small business in my own parameters. And if it means that I don't grow as much, that's fine. If it means that I've missed an opportunity, it won't be the first, and I'm sure it won't be the last. But one of the things I love about being self-employed, being my own boss, if you like, is that good, bad, and indifferent, all of these decisions are mine. and I've made some doozies of bad decisions. But you live with them and you go, well, what have I learned from this? You know, and sometimes the best you learn is we'll never do it that way again, ever.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit. You've told me about your business, why you do. It's obvious why you do what you do, because you're passionate about doing it. But tell me about a little bit about you. What thing would we like to know about you that people wouldn't know necessarily?
Oh gosh, what they wouldn't know. I think, God, from a business perspective or
No, tell me. You know, do you do abseiling for beginners
Oh,
with
okay, yeah.
whatever? Tell me something you do in your spare time. Although
Okay,
please tell
so
me about your business.
I've been a massive fan of horses since I can remember, and I have my own. So I have a crazy thoroughbred called Bertie. So that is my. It's all horses has always been a passion of mine. I can remember sitting in the car and trying to look over the hedgerow when you're driving past, looking at horses and things like that. And so yeah, I have my own. I compete as well. Yeah, I've got got a huge amount of friends. There's a massive network and support group within the equine industry. But horses are very levelers, and they do remind me of business, because at the end of the day, you know, if it doesn't work, you've got to try something else. And sometimes you're communicating with something that will listen, but you can't speak to it.
Yes.
So all the time you're learning and you're training. Even that, it's like an athlete, any top athlete, to get to the top, you know, has still got to have training, has still got to have a mentor, has still got to look at the way they do things. Do I need to change? So that sits well with me in business. So sometimes I apply, you know, what have I learned with horses? And it might sound a bit crazy to some.
No.
You think, well, actually, I have to communicate with half a ton that doesn't speak.
Yes,
Now,
I know I've had friends who've said that they've pretended when talking to a customer, they were talking to one of their small children,
oh,
and
brilliant.
they didn't want to restrict their thought process, but
Yeah.
actually we need to focus. You know,
Yes.
it's about getting to the shops, not looking at your new toy. You know, so yeah, we all find our own way, really. I mean, I've not quite found it yet, but you know, I've
Yeah.
been practicing for 25 years. I'll keep going. At some point, I'll hit it, and then I'll retire the next day because I've peaked. Yeah, I've done. Yeah.
Thing is as well, Glennis, is that, you know, you're always, when people say to me, oh, you can't tell me anything new, I know it all, that type of thing, etc. Nobody does. You can't.
No.
And the one thing about having you know, whatever a sport or like self with horses, is that, you know, for me to continually improve for both as a partnership, I still have to keep learning. I still have to be taught.
Yes.
So I'm always looking, you know, and I've got some great trainers, some fantastic instructors who actually are very, even though they don't think it, they're actually very good, you know, mentally. They're sort of mindful coaches
Yes.
as well. You walk away and
Yes.
think, yeah. And I had one, to give you an example, I went for a great training session at the weekend with somebody I hadn't met before, but I'd heard was very, very good. And he is an equine trainer, but also a sports psychologist as well. But when he was talking about how he trains, and it was so simple, it was all about repetition. And when you walk away, what do you learn from that? And are you going to do something different?
Yes.
So it's all about educating yourself and being disciplined, and
Yes.
just keep going. And it was just such a simple I can never say this word, but it's just a very simple concept.
Analysis. Are you
That's
thinking
it,
of
analysis,
analysis? Is that the word?
analogy.
You see, that's networking. We help each other out. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
On that. So yeah, so that's me. And so I don't always bring that into my business and talk about that. Maybe I'm a bit old school, you know, having, you know, we never really sort of brought our personal lives into work as such, or certainly with clients, until you still got to know them. But yeah, so I'm a massive horse fan, and you know, nothing will stop me getting on a horse.
Right. Nothing would stop me from not getting on a horse. I'm actually frightened of horses. For what I have a thing, you see, that I don't know how smart they are, but they've got very big feet and very big teeth. And if they worked it out, they could stand on your feet and then bite chunks out of you. So and I think that sort of, I did ride a horse for a challenge many years ago, and I might do actually a podcast about that. But I one of them was to ride a horse. It was the worst half hour of my life.
Oh,
and the person who owned the horse said it was the worst half hour of his life as well. She had to take him for a ride after because he was sulking. So do you know what? What can I
love
tell
it,
you?
love it.
Yeah, so what can I tell you? Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend time with you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, go forth, do work, make money, share, do all of that stuff. And for everybody else, I will see you again soon. Bye, my
Oh.
lovelies.